like to take it away.
Thank you. And thank you, Lynn. And thank you, everyone, for being here. My name is Su-Ling Ching, and I'm the President and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. We're very pleased to welcome all of you here for our webinar series, and very excited about today's topic, communicating and marketing in a COVID-19 environment. My hat's off to all of you for your resilience during this time, for staying connected and continuing to look for ways to do business in this very challenging time, but one that's also full of opportunities. And I'm sure Catherine is going to talk to us about that today. We are very honored by the members that we have that support us as sponsors. I want to say thank you to our community partner, Ottawa Citizen, as well as our event sponsor, Enbridge, and of course today's presentation sponsor, CP Business Solutions. Just a few updates from the Board of Trade. We continue to be focused on our advocacy work, to be working with the members of our business community as well as decision makers at all levels of government in regard to the programs that are rolling out to support us during this time. Those that need to be tweaked a little to continue to support us as we look toward an opportunity to reopen and to recover our economy. So thank you to many of our members who have provided information, who are supporting us as sponsors and as volunteers during this time. We also have been looking for ways to tactically support all of our members through programs such as this webinar series, and we're very pleased to bring the Wellness Wednesday webinars to you as well. As we know, the one thing that we can control and that we must control in order to have a successful recovery is our own mental and physical well-being. And so we're excited to have Dr. Vera Etches join us next week. And I know, Lynn, you're going to talk a bit more about that as well. We've been rolling out several new affinity programs. I encourage all of you to check those out on our website, opportunities to save money through the programs that we run, and new opportunities to get involved in it and promote your business as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce today's presenter. Catherine, before I get into your official bio, I just want to say that you have always been a very active and valuable voice in the Board of Trade, and we thank you for your leadership that way, and also through the success of your business and how you are supporting other businesses. So Catherine loves what she does and leads her team to uncover potential, inspire creativity, and instill trust and develop solutions. She is the president and CEO of CP Business Solutions, Inc., a marketing agency she incorporated 8 years ago, following a time as a sole proprietor and an exciting career in the Air Force that took her all over the world. Catherine continues to travel extensively, although not right now, and delivers services to clients around the globe. She's driven by a tireless pursuit for creative results and is always looking for a fresh challenge. Catherine is the very essence of the color orange that brands her business and permeates her personal and professional life. Creative, confident, and slightly off the wall, Catherine has the personality and the heart to carry off and lay claim to such a vibrant shade. In the 10 years that she's lived in Orleans, Ontario, Catherine has made personal and professional connections, getting involved as an active member of the community, and was recognized in the 2018 Woman Entrepreneur of the Year Award at the Orleans Chamber of Commerce Annual Business Excellence Awards. Catherine has 2 speeds, whirlwind and asleep. Welcome, Catherine, and thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's funny when you hear somebody read your bio. You know, it makes me laugh every time. It's so true, though, the whirlwind and asleep. I am either all in or I am out on the couch. That's just the way I roll. So I do have slides for those of you who like a little bit of structure to a presentation. For those of you who don't, I won't be able to see if you're checking your iPhone because I'll be looking at my slides. So, you know, work this how it best fits for you. If your kids run in the background or jump on your lap, I'm totally fine with that. We are in a completely new situation right now. And I'm happy to just roll with whatever works. As I said before, you're welcome to ask questions as we're going along. I think sometimes if you don't jump on it right at the moment, it can be lost. And don't hesitate to ask a question, because if you have it, maybe somebody else has it too. And the whole point of this conversation is to help move your businesses and your organizations forward. So I want to stay focused on you and what your needs are right now. If anybody needs to get a hold of me after the call, the last slide will have my contact information on it, and you're welcome to reach out by phone to my cell, because I just unplugged my house phone, or by email. Either works for me. So I'm going to share my screen now. Does that work for you, Lynn? Are you good?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and everybody, as soon as the screen's shared, you can all just sit back and undo your pants. So, because I'm sure most of us are in elastic right now anyway. All right, here we go. Share screen. Boom. Share. And from the beginning. All right, there's a little bit of orange. My name's Kathy. I go by Kathy, Catherine, and Kath. It's a little bit of a problem when you talk about branding inconsistency. I have personal branding issues with myself. But you can reach me anytime. There's the essence of the color orange. Our company, CP Business Solutions, I've been incorporated for, 8 to 9 years right now. And prior to that was a sole proprietor. So we're looking at about 20 years in the marketing field, plus a very eclectic background before that. CP Business Solutions is a marketing and image strategy company. Our three main pillars of business are branding and graphic design, document development and information marketing. So things like strategic plans, annual reports, manuals that need to be done, but we make them fun. And then our third pillar of business is designing displays for events so that your organization can reach out into the community and put your best foot forward. So for those of you who like some structure, there are approximately 20 slides if you want to count them off. Some of them are quick, some of them are a little bit longer. And here is the outline for the day. Number one, it is okay to sell right now, and I encourage you to do so. We'll talk about that a little bit. Then we're going to talk about communicating during COVID. And the communications piece is for marketing, but it transcends everything. It's not just about marketing. It's about just generally getting in touch with people. We're going to talk about strategic versus tactical marketing at a very high level. This is a quick presentation, so you're not going to get 30 years of marketing experience in 40 minutes, but I want to talk a little bit about strategic and tactical, and then a really big emphasis on corporate social responsibility, because that is key to your marketing right now. It's okay to sell. I feel like I want to say it 1,000 times. So here's the point with the selling right now. The economy needs to keep moving. And I know that there are people probably listening right now who own businesses or are part of large organizations that are screaming right now. The cash flow is down. The expenses, sometimes the overhead isn't going anywhere. You still have rent, you still have insurance, you still have payroll. So the economy is suffering, but that's why we need you to keep selling. And it's not a dirty thing, because when you're selling, you are providing value to somebody else and they receive that value. So it's imperative to keep that cycle going. What is important about it, though, is to be sensitive about how you're selling right now. And if you are one of the lucky businesses who has seen an opportunity, if you're in the face shield business, if you are in the hand sanitizer business, if you are in the delivery business, any of those are probably booming right now. It's okay to take that opportunity and to enjoy it and to relish and build on it and grow and position yourself as a leader in the industry right now. I don't know if you guys have been watching Shopify shares, but holy jumping, they're on fire. And they are continuing to strive and help other people. So the key is, when you're selling, focus on the value that you're providing. It's really important to do that. One thing I want to talk about is the idea that we're all in the same boat. I'm going to address that later because I don't think we are. We're weathering the same storm, but we are not all in the same boat. So sensitivity when you sell is very important. Communicating during COVID is a whole nother ball of wax. I want to talk about values, voice, and visuals. These are my 3 things that I check every time I send an email, every time I prep a post for social media. I try to do it in proposals. I try to do it when I'm communicating with people in general. There's 3 things that I really like to check. And the first one is values. So consider your moral compass or the moral compass of your organization. I know we're talking to a group of people here. We've got some sole proprietors, we've got some small businesses, we've got some larger businesses. So insert the applicable size of your organization when it fits here. What values do you hold important? What values does your organization hold important? What beliefs are core to your being, and what things are not negotiable? You need to know those things about yourself when you go to have conversations. I remember having a really interesting occurrence before the legalization of marijuana. There was a small pot shop set up in the same building as Kumon Learning for Children and my kids' Taekwondo school, in the same building. And parents went nuts. And the owner of the Taekwondo school was also very upset because the building itself was focused on the well-being of children. And so the people in that building got together and asked that the shop be moved because it was not in alignment with their moral compass. They weren't asking for it to be shut down. They were just saying, not here. So you have to think about how your moral compass and your ethics and the image that you're trying to portray is conveyed in everything that you're doing. Are you profit driven for your shareholders, or are you emotionally driven for your employees? Are customers first to you? They don't have to be mutually exclusive. It's just you need to think about the message and the guidance that you're providing at all times. It will help you form your messaging. I use the glasses half full, glasses half empty image for this. I mean, it's very cliche and overdone, but I think it speaks to everybody, because the messaging that you use and the voice that you choose will clearly define how you want to be perceived and how you want to be remembered. So we've all seen people that are organizations that have strong business pages on social media, for example, and then they also have personal page. Now, my business page and personal page are extremely different, but my personality is the same on the 2 of them. I don't pretend to be one person at work and another person at home. And my voice is slightly different. It's a little bit more whimsical on my personal page than it is on my business page, but you know it's the same person. And you know that when you meet me personally, it's going to be the same whether it's in a business setting or not. And the voice and the message that you share, you want that to be consistent. It's also really important that positive language be used right now. Language is so important, particularly right now. When I was talking about everybody being in the same boat, we are not all in the same boat in COVID right now. We are weathering the same storm, but there are many different boats. My home is working all right now. My husband is still going to work. He's in the Air Force, so he's got a pretty big job right now. He's quite busy. We have a 14-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son, and they sleep. They're basically nocturnal right now. They get up sometime between 12 and 2 in the afternoon. Then they eat everything that they can find. And then they sort of engage with us around dinner. We have a nice evening together. Then Mike and I go to bed, and the kids are up again till midnight. So this cycle is working very nicely for all of us. We have a pretty good balance in our home right now. If I had a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old right now, I would not be in the same boat. I would not have the same balance. Trying to work from home with a 2-year-old, like, you can only play I Spy so much. And you are eventually going to run out of craft supplies. And you are going to start crying in the shower. I'm sure they already are. The other situation you've got is 2 government employees, double income, no children, maybe not able to connect to their internet or their internal computer systems. So they've got a situation where they have a lot of time on their hands, no kids to take care of. They may be just lying on the couch watching Netflix covered in cheesy dust. I don't know. But the point is, there are different boats for the same storm. And when you're crafting your messaging for your marketing, you need to be sensitive to that. We've got people who have lost loved ones, who have, whether it's through COVID or not, who are separated and can't get back to the people they need to be. We've got people whose businesses are going bankrupt. So the sensitivity is really important. So if you're playing with jokes and whimsical words and stuff like that, you want to be sensitive before you put it out there and think about how you want to be remembered as a company. So when you post something now on social media, when you release a TV ad or a newspaper article or something like that, think through to the end impact of what you're doing. It's imperative. And I think we're not seeing that all the time right now. We're seeing a lot of panic. Visuals are also really important right now. Yeah, that's an actual pair of my shoes. Consistency is important. You want to develop brand consistency and brand awareness. That's not anything different for in a COVID situation or out. Our company is tied tightly to the color orange. It's funny, the other day I came home from a walk and there was actually a bag of oranges sitting on our doorstep. No note, no nothing, but somebody just tried to make my day by leaving a bag of oranges, which I thought was fun. So the consistency is really important from a brand recognition point of view. Clarity in your brand. From an imagery point of view, are you using photos? Are you using clip art? Are you using those doodly videos that look hand-drawn? All three of those don't necessarily work together. So decide on the visual image that you want to present and stick in that field, stay in that lane so that you've got consistency and clarity in your imagery. Then where are you applying the visuals for your brand? Are you doing it online? Are you doing it on your business cards? Have you got it in your letterhead? Have you got it in all these other different places? That's all great from a normal brand point of view. But from a COVID point of view, the visuals are imperative right now because they have to be sensitive. Anybody who's been watching TV lately, if you watch something that you had on PVR, or if you watch a show that was recorded pre-COVID, if there's a crowd, I was watching, I don't know, 911 or something the other day, or some TV show that had cops in it, and there was a big crowd of people gathered. And I could actually feel in my chest that my anxiety was going up a little bit. You know, I wasn't freaking out, but I was just aware, and I kind of, you know, took a breath in, and then I thought, wait a minute, this was filmed ages ago. This has nothing to do with the current situation. But there's a lot of people that are being triggered by visual images right now. You know, the photos of people on the beach, it's causing a situation. So think about that when you're picking visuals for TV ads or for billboards or for social media, particularly social media. People are sucking it in like a rate I've never seen before. It's unbelievable. So you're going to avoid visuals that have large crowds of people, anybody touching, anybody shaking hands. The traditional photos that you have used in the past on social media, your stock images that you have might not be applicable right now. You're going to have to look for fresh images. No shaking hands, no touching. If you've got two people in an image, make it clear that they're from the same household or that they're far apart. It's actually triggering people right now. And to help you out with this and your brand in general, we have like a branding checklist that we've put together. So Daniela's going to put the link up in the chat for you. And what you can do is you can download that and take a look at all the different aspects of your brand and are you addressing each one of them? It goes right down to packaging. It talks about photo shoots. It talks about color palettes, and it just lists a whole bunch of stuff to think about. So it's a good one for you to use during COVID, but also anytime. It'll be effective for you. Okay, strategic versus tactical. I'm going to touch on this really quickly. When you talk about marketing, what I'm seeing right now is panic posting. So people are chucking stuff up on social media in hopes of you know, creating some quick cash or some fast followers. When you normally set up your marketing plans, you want to start with your goals and then work down to your sort of strategic grouped areas, and then the tactical actions that you're actually going to take. All of these words can be seen in different words can do this, but start with your goals, break it down, get specific is where we go from here. So your marketing goals, define your goals, and your goals now may be extremely different than they were 3 months ago. Your goal now could be to stay afloat, stay alive, avoid bankruptcy. But you could also be in a situation where you want to increase your revenue. This is an interesting opportunity to reach new markets, address larger audiences, increase your brand awareness, dive in to the online world where you weren't there before previously, inform people that you exist, generate donations. So this is a challenging time for charities for sure. So what do you need to do to think about your goals, refine your goals, to keep them relevant and realistic right now? I would suggest that the marketing plan and the strategic plan that you had 3 months ago definitely needs to be revised given the current situation, because it's not local, it's a global situation. So even your supply chain is going to be affected. Then take your goals and break them down into a high level planning. So you want to think about things like, what's your branding? These are more like the large areas of execution. How are you engaging with the community? Is your website up to date? What other digital products do you have? Do you have relationships with influencers right now that you can work on? And then under each of these topics, that's when you want to get down to your tactical level and your actual execution. It's got to come from the goals though first, because what I'm seeing right now is people are skipping the goal section. They're skipping this high level planning. And I'm not saying you have to spend 6 weeks on it, but if you spent 2 hours on it, it would make a huge difference, because then you get to the tactical level. And what I've done here is I've broken down social media, because everybody's just sucking it in at such a rate. So when you go from your goals to the strategic level, then you pick social media as one area. You can dive in there and decide the degree to which you're going to lean in. If you're at the strategic level and you had networking as one of your strategic level exercises or groups, networking is taking on a totally different approach right now. So networking in person, you're just going to put a pin in and you're not going to deal with that right now. You're going to increase your networking online. So your social media is another group of that. Which platforms are you on? That's really important. Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, all different people hang out on those different platforms for different reasons. So you want to think about that. Which platform do you need to be on? Who am I targeting? How often? Do I want to use video? Do I want to use live? How am I using stories? Planning social media is imperative because it reduces your stress level and it allows you to focus on your target market. It slows you down just enough to be able to think about the impact of what you're doing, rather than grabbing your phone really quick, slapping some stuff in there, taking a selfie and whipping it up. Have you thought all the way through the impact of what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve? So planning with a calendar is a great idea. I'm not saying plan out, 6 weeks, but even if you can plan the week, it'll reduce your stress and also increase the quality of your posting. Are you engaging with other people? You should be engaging more online right now in social media. You should be talking, commenting, sharing, shout out to local businesses, and then measuring if you're making progress. Is it affecting what you're doing? Calls to action are the biggest thing, particularly in social media right now. And I'm going to give you an example. Cafe Latte Chino is a bakery dessert food cafe that's in Orleans, and they have been rocking the COVID situation right now. They're doing pickup only, but they are putting up the most gorgeous pictures of cheesecake and apple fritters that I've ever seen. They have a donut kit you can pick up now. The difference is when they take the pictures of the apple fritters and put them up, the video, here, these are fresh out of the oven, they look great. They don't stop there. They don't just say, we have amazing apple fritters that are right out of the oven, they're delicious. They say, we have amazing apple fritters that are right out of the oven, they're delicious, they're going fast, order yours now, here's the number. Thanks to them, I'm probably up between 4 and 5 pounds right now, but carbs are comforting. So the challenge there is finding the call to action that's actually going to make people do things. And I think that's even more important during COVID, to find the right call to action, because there are a lot of people that do have time and not everybody is financially suffering right now. So if you can word your call to action in a way that is extremely sensitive to the COVID situation, then you're going to get a higher return and response rate. So you want to be sensitive, like I said, to the visuals, to the values, and to the voice. What is your language? Think about the situation they're in, and then move ahead from there. When you're talking about your marketing goals, the key to achieving them, this is how I do everything in marketing. I think about what action do you want your target audience to take? What action do you want those people to do? Do you want them to donate? Do you want them to show up for a rally? Do you want them to buy? Do you want them to register? Do you want them to learn more? What do you want them to do? And then, this is the key, how do they need to feel in order to take that action? If you can figure that out, you are 80% of the way there. Do you need them to feel a little bit guilty if you're going to running room because you haven't been running in a while? Do you need them to feel privileged and generous if you want them to donate? Do you need them to feel like they don't want to be left out, so you've got to sign up for that webinar, you've got to be there at that book launch? How do you want them to feel in order to take that action? And if you can figure that out and you can work that into your messaging, you are miles ahead, and that's going to be very helpful. Okay, I want to take the last little bit of time to talk about corporate social responsibility. And this is a really big deal right now. I'm not just talking about whether you use recycled photocopy paper and you have an unofficial composting program in your office. The corporate social responsibility right now is at a heightened level like it's never been before. Oil is way down, and there are people that are actually cheering that because they are, predicting the end of fossil fuels. There are people who are concerned and worried about health and safety at a level that has obviously never happened before. The supply chain is a big deal right now. I had originally on this slide, I had put patriotic supply chain, but it felt a little bit too American. So I went for true north supply chain. The idea of a corporate social responsibility plan is imperative right now, particularly with generations that are coming up behind, well, me. I'm not going to age myself there, but I do have progressive glasses that I wear on occasion. The younger generations, the millennial generation, the generation behind them, my kids, they are totally into the corporate social responsibility. Environmental impact and things like that are imperative. Right now, during COVID, people are focused on health and safety. So if you want to be selling and you want to be effective in that selling, you must show people how you are keeping your customers safe and how you are keeping your employees and your staff safe. If you think about the meatpacking plant that's been on the news lately, Cargill, people are outraged that they've had such a huge outbreak in that plant, and yet they are still sending people back into work, and the employees do not feel safe. That's making the news, and it's having a major impact on people's viewpoints and opinions of that company. So health and safety is key. This is what we're doing to keep our employees safe. This is what we're doing to keep you safe. If you're a hair salon that's going to be opening up, you want to say things like, we have removed every other chair. You will be at a distance of more than 6 feet. We have masks available if you would like to wear them if you forgot yours. We will not be using blow dryers because we don't want to spread extra droplets around the space. We'll be decontaminating all the tools and all the counters in between people. We will only be accepting online payments with tap cards. This is the type of thing you can say to start setting your customers up for when you do open And if you already are open, remind them of the systems you have in place to keep them safe. And what it's saying is, I care about you. I care about you as a person. I care about you as a customer. And I think that I'm very excited about opening up. We're looking forward to having you back, but I want to keep you safe. And by doing that, you are showing that you have leadership in your industry and you are responsible. So it's not just about your customers, it's also about your staff and your employees. Then you're going to think about your supply chain. If you're an organization that uses an extensive supply chain, see what you can do about making it work domestically. You know, we've been working on import issues right now, and I'm having trouble because some of the things that I usually get from China, and my clients don't want them from China, and they are willing to pay more to get them from Canada. And that's what we've done. So we've sourced new suppliers in the area that are all Canadian, even though they're at a higher price, and people are willing to pay for it. Environmental impact. You want to think about your impact as an organization. And I jokingly said recycled paper and composting. Those are a big deal. You know, and then there's also, what are you doing from an economic point of view? What's your environmental footprint look like? All of those sorts of things you want to think about. Particularly if you are a business right now that is surviving or is thriving in the COVID environment, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you for community and charitable roles now and in the future. So be ready for that. That's coming your way. Think about your philanthropic plan. What do you have outlined? Do you need to adjust it? I had to adjust my philanthropic plan this year just because the funds were not available to do some of the things that I wanted to do. So we've had to adjust. I've redefined my roles and community involvement has gone way up. The amount of free time and energy and just knowledge that we're sharing has gone way up. The ability to financially support charities for us has gone down. But it doesn't mean we're not there. What I'm doing instead is I'm engaging with the charities to help them with my time. So think about what your role is going to be from a community and charitable point of view, particularly if you're thriving, because you're going to get a lot of questions and demands. The other part about your corporate responsibility, your social responsibility plan, is those four things are really big right now. Health and safety, your supply chain, environmental impact, community and charitable roles. But the other big things that you need to think about all the time in your plan is leadership, core values, ethics, integrity, transparency. Oh my God, that's the big thing right now too. Innovation, and clearly how adaptable are you? I don't like to use the word pivot because I just feel like it's been overused right now, but it is a very clear idea. I was listening to Simon Sinek talk the other day, and he said pivot is, you know, one foot stays planted, like if you think about it in basketball, and it's the other foot that moves around the anchored location. So you're not changing what your why is or why you're in business. You're changing your how and your what. You're changing what you deliver possibly and how you deliver it. But for CP Business Solutions, I don't think our why has ever been stronger right now. I love why we're in business, and how we're delivering and who we're helping has been changing quite a bit. But that anchor is just imperative. You've got to have that anchor. So from a corporate social responsibility point of view, if you do not have a corporate social responsibility plan, you should be thinking about one. And it's not just your health and safety manual tacked onto you know, your recycling policy, tacked onto a list of charities that you give to. It's the all-encompassing viewpoint that you want to have. It's the message that you want to share as an organization, and what is the impact of your entire company and organization socially, and how are you representing and sharing that information. So it's a big undertaking to write one of these. And what I would suggest is, if you're going to do it, when you draft your plan, you want to bring in experts from each specific field. So you want to bring in experts of risk management, environmental experts, health and safety experts, and they don't necessarily need to be from your organization. When we write a corporate responsibility plan, I have specific experts in those areas that I consult. I bring them in for that project. We research the companies very closely. And then when we send it back out, we know that we haven't just done our opinion. We've got experts in those areas of environmental and health and safety. So when you build your plan, you've got to think about doing that, because I think it's going to take an even greater role in the future. So I'm just going to wrap up here and say it is okay to sell. We need you to sell. Please do it. I saw the news the other day that hand sanitizer industry has gone up by over 350%. So that's great for them. There are other things you can sell. Clearly the apple fritter business is quite strong right now. There are a lot of areas that you can adjust your business to keep selling. Don't feel bad about it. If you have an opportunity, oh my gosh, seize it. Seize that opportunity. Think about your values, your voice, and your visuals. If I had to pick one of those, it would be the voice, because that is the messaging that you use to convey your emotion and your intention to your customers and to your employees. So that's really important. Strategic versus tactical marketing. Catch your breath. Panic tactical marketing right now is not a great idea. Go back, reset your goals, look at your strategic areas of interest and how you're going to execute, and then get into the tactical part. Make sure you put your calls to action in there for the tactical part. That will return your ROI incredibly. And then finally, corporate social responsibility. It's a big deal. It's a great way to push forward right now in the COVID-19 situation. People are looking for it. They're looking for nurturing. They're looking for caring. They're looking for organizations basically that are not cold. So position yourself so that you are that organization, and then share what you're doing. If you already have a corporate social responsibility plan, tell people about it. Don't just leave it as a document that sits dusty on the shelf. Use it as a marketing tool. And I have one little example. Oh, here we go. This is my contact info if you need to get a hold of us. Remember that the Daniela has put the list for the branding or the branding checklist. There's a link there in the chat. So if you want to get a hold of that, you can. It's a handy little tool. I actually use it myself, even internally, to just make sure that we're on track with all of our stuff sometimes. And that's how you can get a hold of me. There's our website, there's my email address, and that is my cell phone number. You're welcome to call that if you'd like. I'll come back to this slide in a sec. I just wanted to share one little thing with you. CP Business Solutions, one of the ways that we give back to the community is we champion junior entrepreneurs. So I have a handful of junior entrepreneurs, and when I say junior, I mean like some of them. The youngest one I started with was 7. The guy I'm going to talk to you about now was 11. He's now 13. And what I do is, if these kids come to me with an idea for a business, we have a meeting. Sometimes it's at Dairy Queen, sometimes we have chocolate milk in our office, and we talk to them about what their business idea is like, why they want to do it, you know, have they thought it through? And if they come with an idea that I think they've put enough enthusiasm into and that they could have some longevity, then we lean in and I give them a branding package and basically coaching on how to get their business going. And I'm just going to share one of these with you because this is really interesting. Corporate social responsibility and High Kick Coffee. So High Kick Coffee is owned by Jameson. He's 13 years old. We had a Zoom call yesterday, and he didn't know the word corporate social responsibility, but he was asking about it. So there's a 13-year-old who's talking about his coffee business. So what he does is he imports coffee beans and he roasts them himself and he packages them and distributes them. His question was, do I need to be wearing gloves? Should I tell people I'm wearing a mask? How do I deliver this stuff safely so that they know that it's safe? And it's really interesting because the kid's 13 and he's already thinking about the impact of his corporate social responsibility. So think about what you could do for your business. Could be amazing. So if you want to check him out, Facebook, High Kick Coffee. He doesn't have a website or anything, but you can message him there, and it's pretty cute. Back to my contact info, and then Lynn, I'm good to go.
All right, Catherine, that was amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Do you want me to stop sharing my screen now?
Sure.
Okay.
So
there we go.
I absolutely loved you sharing the story about that young entrepreneur. That's a real bonus, I think, for today's webinar. And it's so exciting to see these young business owners, future entrepreneurs getting up and standing up and doing the right thing and asking for mentorship and guidance. I love that. So thank you for helping them. You're racing.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm going to put an extra little
leaders.
Extra little plug out for him. So when we were on our call yesterday, I said, how's it going? You know, and he's an only child, so he's stuck in his house with his parents. And he's like, oh my gosh, Kathy, I really miss you, you know. And I said, well, why don't you go for a big bike ride? And he said, yes, I'm going to. So he had made a decision. He had saved up $350 from his coffee business, and he was going to buy a new bike. And then he realized that if he did that, he wouldn't have enough money to buy more beans. So he was being very, very careful. He decided not to buy the new bike. He's going to ride it out with the old one. He bought $350 worth of coffee beans. And yesterday he went out and hit a rock on a trail, bent the rim, trashed the wheel, split the inner tube. And he's like, now I have a basement full of coffee beans and no bike. And I was like, dude, I can fix that. So High Kick Coffee on Facebook, $15 a bag. Go, people, support this kid.
Nice.
So that's my plug.
Love it. Thank you. While Catherine is, well, now that Catherine's finished, we'll give her a moment and we'll get into the questions shortly. But first, I just want to take a moment and re-thank our generous sponsors for their support and allowing us to continue offering programs like this. So our community partner is the Ottawa Citizen. Our event sponsor is Enbridge Gas, and our sponsor for this presentation, of course, CP Business Solutions. So Catherine, amazing job that you did today. I want to share very quickly with you a couple of our upcoming webinars that I think might be interesting for you. On Tuesday the 19th, the folks at Miami Business Consulting are going to talk to us about building a business continuity plan. And if there was ever a time to be doing that, it is right now. Very, very excited about next Wednesday's Wellness Wednesday. We're going to have Dr. Vera Etches from Ottawa Public Health come. And the topic is going to be Get Outside. And Dr. Etches will talk about not only why being outdoors is so important for our physical and our mental health and well-being, but she's also going to talk about ways that we can do it where we're still respecting the physical distancing requirements. So I think that's going to be great. She's also going to take a few minutes and talk to us about masks, how to wear them properly, when to wear them, and how to care for reusable masks in a sensible and responsible way. So that will be a very interesting session. On the 21st, the good people at Business Sherpa Group are going to talk to us about digitizing your finance function. So I don't know how many business owners are on our call today that have realized, wow, I wish I had online banking. Wow, I wish everything was digital so that we could work from home. The Business Sherpa Group is going to walk us through why that's so important and how we can do it. On the 26th of May, we're going to have the Rhapsody Strategies team come and talk to us about rethinking your business. If there's ever been a time when business owners are taking a little bit of a pause and figuring out where they're going and what they want to accomplish, now is the time to do it. And these guys are the right people to guide you through that discussion. And on the 28th of May, Scott Moran, Bytown Ventures, he is going to talk about keeping your leadership team meetings effective. And who doesn't want that? So I think that's going to be very, very exciting. And just before I turn it back over to Catherine, I would like to point out one of our members who's on the call today, Monique with Big Brothers Big Sisters Ottawa. And I want to congratulate Big Brothers Big Sisters Ottawa. They are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. That is an amazing achievement, and it's such a needed service, especially right now. So Monique, you're not on camera and you're muted, but I just want to say, way to go, you guys. And that's fantastic achievement. So Catherine, back to you. We've got some questions and comments that have been popping up in the chat. And the first one was, so there's been a lot of nice feedback. Here we go. So Catherine, if it's possible, can you give us an example of how to craft a message to target emotion?
Okay, how to target emotion. This one would be really good for charities. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, but if you're looking for donations, you know, looking for, that sounds so cold, but it's a reality, is that you're having financial challenges right now. So I would say the emotion that you want somebody to feel for a donation is you want them to feel that they want to give. You want them to feel that they can contribute, that they are powerful and empowered. So I would work on pointing out the strength in the person that could donate, and inviting them to be part of the solution. You can make a difference. So it needs to be very personally crafted language. It's not general. It's you as an individual. It's you as an impact. It's not all y'all, as you'd say in the South. You want to be very specific and talk to that person. You want to generate a sense of accomplishment and pride at the end of their donation, and you want to make sure that they will be revered and thanked, and a little bit put up on a pedestal, to be honest. So you want to use language that is going to nurture their soul and their desire to give back. So I would pick language like that, depending on the individual donation that you're seeking for and the organization that you're working with.
That's a great answer, Catherine. And I think a lot of businesses too, though, these days are going to want to speak to emotion as well, more along the lines of feeling safe, feeling heard. But I think businesses will also want to speak to the
I think they need to, and people need to realize, like right now, if you used to hum at this level, people are humming up here right now. You know, your triggers are a lot faster, your emotions are a lot closer to the surface. We sat down at the dinner table the other day, and my daughter said, you know, I love you all, but I'm done with you. Like, I don't want to engage with you today anymore. And we were like, that's okay. You can say that. So your emotions are here. But then had we kept poking at her and teasing and bugging, you know, we could have brought her to tears. So the thing is, people are humming at a higher level. You have to acknowledge that. And it's okay to be sensitive. It doesn't make you weak. You know, Brene Brown does a great thing on vulnerability and how being vulnerable actually takes courage. And I think it's an okay time for companies to be a little bit more vulnerable now. And I think that there will be success and benefits reaped from that vulnerability.
Great. So our next question is coming from Madeline, and Madeline's with MNP here in Ottawa. And her question is, if you're a B2B company, how do you cut through the noise? Oh, that's a great question. I see that there's a lot of thought being pushed out into market, and I'm wary to add to it. How do you keep yourself present of mind with B2B clients?
Okay, so for me, this goes for B2B or for any client. Start with the people that you already had a relationship with. And rather than doing mass advertising and mass marketing, go into where your relationship exists. So whether you are sending, you know, if it's a big client, you want to send them a new coffee cup with your logo on it that says, hey, you're probably drinking a lot more coffee right now while you're sitting in front of your Zoom calls. Hope this helps. And then go on in a handwritten note to think about what's going on. To remind them that you are around, that you have a strong relationship, and you can actually engage with them that way. Staying front of mind is imperative. So you're going to need to engage with the people that you had relationships with before, and then be brave enough to ask them for referrals. We would also like to offer these amazing services to somebody else. Do you know anybody else that could benefit from working with us? So right now, I feel like the personal connection is a way to cut through that noise, and be creative. Send some of the apple fritters over. You know, it costs you a couple bucks. I can't eat them all, but send some of those over. Handwritten note is a big deal. An email that's not canned, that doesn't say dear recipient, right? Maybe pick a handful of your larger clients and push the relationship there at a more intimate level. You can think about cards, phone calls, shout outs online. One of the things that I do, you know, when it comes to marketing in the Ottawa area, there's a lot of big companies, there's a lot of small companies, there's a lot of independent companies. If I see great marketing done by somebody else, I am happy to give them a shout out. We're not all competing for the same business, because somebody who would enjoy working with me and would benefit from working with me might not enjoy working with somebody else. And I'm a little unusual to work with. So somebody who really likes systems and structure and perfect everything in a nice little box might not appreciate the whimsical attitude I take, so they may be more comfortable somewhere else. So what I like to do is give shout outs to the competition, or who they, who may be considered competition, but if they are doing something really well and strong, people need to know about it because it's going to benefit their business as well. So from a B2B point of view, I would say build on existing relationships as your foundation, and then outreach and ask for referrals from there.
That was a great answer. Thank you so much. So every once in a while, I like to take advantage of the fact that I'm co-hosting this with Su-Ling so I can ask my own question. So Catherine, I want to know, when you're talking about our branding and being consistent and being careful and thoughtful, I think Zoom calls have thrown a whole new interesting twist to your branding, and maybe you could share with us what some of your thoughts on that are.
Like, really? You're coming to me from your bedroom and you want to ask me what Zoom calls? Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going in there, Lynn, only because you and I know each other. Okay. So this is, you want to think about what your, think about what your viewer is looking at. Okay, so right now, there's backdrop lighting issues, there's windows and mirrors, there's all kinds of stuff. What you want to do is you want to frame your background. It's not just about you and your face. It's not about what you can see in the screen. It's what the other people can see behind you. Mm-hmm. So for you, for example, I'm going to use you right now. The fact that you have to be in your bedroom with your office, people are aware that there are weird things going on. Yeah. But what I would do for you is I would switch your desk around so that the wall behind you is what's behind you and framing you, and the natural light that's coming in the window will hit your face. Right. So you'll have a better, glow on your face. And right now, when people look at you, there's like a halo of the window behind, which is difficult. And they're seeing a whole bunch of very personal aspects of your life that you may not want to share, right? Mm-hmm. So if you were to move your desk around and just put a piece of art on the wall behind you, you would have a frame and people wouldn't know you're in the bedroom. So, but I'm not, that's just a personal, I'm digging at you there. Okay. From a Zoom point of view, despite the fact that everybody's working in unusual situations, it doesn't mean that they need to be unprofessional, right? So the image that people have visually is going to remain in their heads. So we want to make sure that, you're showing up, you're on time for Zoom calls, you're using etiquette like muting your phone or your microphone and things like that. But the visual image is really important, particularly if you are recording something and then playing it back later. So think about good lighting. What is the background? I highly recommend not using the virtual ones unless you've got it nailed down and it's a good quality one. If you're having a drink with somebody at night on a Zoom call, you can be floating in space, that's fine, or under the Golden Gate Bridge. But if you're in a business meeting, the challenge is when your face moves forward and backwards, sometimes you're lost into the virtual background. So lighting, frame the background, remain professional with your surroundings and your clothing. Those are the big ones, I would say.
And if I can just add to that, to make sure that you have an appropriate visual up for when you're not showing your camera as well.
Yeah, everybody's got their name up, which is great. So that helps me know who's here. Some people might want a visual up instead. We have our logo when I do it because I just couldn't pick a picture. But definitely you want at least your name to be there.
Absolutely. So I think we've covered all of the questions that are in the chat. Does anybody want to put their hand up and ask Catherine something before we're finished for today? This is your opportunity to ask an expert.
Oh, I'm laughing. I can see in the chat, Julie said, big thanks to Catherine/Kathy. I love it. Somebody acknowledging that I have, identity issues. Okay. Well, if anybody needs to get a hold of me, feel free. You can send us an email. You can give me a call. I'm happy to, talk about any of these other things. If you want to talk through, your thoughts on the corporate social responsibility plan that you're going to be developing, or ideas that you need on how to remember that we're weathering the same storm, but we're not in the same boat.
Yes, absolutely. So just a reminder to everybody before we sign off for today, in a 24 to 48 hours, I'll send out another email and it'll have a link to the recording once it's hosted on our website. We will also share Catherine's slide deck, and I took down the link to the checklist that Catherine was describing, and I'll make sure that that goes out to everybody as well. I'm going to guarantee you that that is going to be a very helpful tool for everyone to take back to their offices and implement them.
Excellent. And yeah, think about the kid that needs to buy a new bike with his coffee.
Yes, and
I
Catherine,
kick coffee.
Kathy/Catherine, when this is all over, you have to treat me to one of those apple fritter things, because now
Absolutely.
I really want one.
Yes, I'm happy to eat more of them. I really am.
Fantastic. Thank
Wonderful.
you so much, everybody. Catherine, thank you very much. That was an amazing presentation, and I'm sure everybody got a lot of value out of it. Have a wonderful afternoon and enjoy this beautiful sunshine.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me.